Ben-Gurion, the father of the modern state of Israel, combined both this vision but also the practicality to be able to really execute something that is unique and historic in this country. And he looks at the desert, and it's Nebuchadnezzar particularly, and he says, this is where the Jewish people are going to be tested.
Deep beneath one of the driest deserts on Earth, Israel discovered something that changed everything. An ancient underground ocean holding water that fell as rain over 40,000 years ago, when the Sahara was still green. But here's the problem. This water was useless. So hot it damages crops on contact.
Now we close many.
You had to
water.
shut down farms, and you shut down your farm here. Why?
Because we don't have enough water.
So salty it poisons farmland within days. Scientists tested it and declared it worthless for agriculture. The logical decision was to seal the wells and walk away forever. Israel refused. Instead, they asked one unconventional question, and the answer led to a hidden network of desert fish farms now producing thousands of tons of tropical fish annually. Fish that thrive in the exact conditions that kill everything else. The reason they built this system goes far deeper than food production. And once you understand it, you'll see why water-starved nations worldwide are now paying attention.
Found out that the waste of the fish contain so much energy that if you take it and apply it in our special reactor, then we can take this fuel and turn on the generator to produce energy. And that can run our system.
The accidental discovery. His team punches through hundreds of meters of rock. Then something extraordinary happens. Water surges upward with such pressure, it flows without pumping. An artesian well powered purely by underground force. Isar had struck the edge of the Nubian sandstone aquifer, one of the largest fossil water reserves on Earth. This aquifer stretches beneath 4 countries, Egypt, Libya, Chad, and Sudan, holding an estimated 150,000 cubic kilometers of water. That's more than the Nile River discharges in 500 years. The Israeli portion sits at the northern tip, extending beneath the Negev and into Sinai. Geologists call it fossil water because it was deposited during prehistoric wet periods, some of it dating back 360,000 years. It has remained trapped in porous sandstone ever since, isolated from the modern water cycle. Israel had discovered an underground reservoir of ancient water. But here's the catch. This water had 2 critical problems that made it worthless for conventional use. First, temperature. At depth, geothermal energy keeps the water between 36 and 40 degrees Celsius, roughly 97 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That's too hot for most agricultural irrigation. Second, salinity. After dissolving minerals for millennia, the water contains approximately 4,000 to 4,500 parts per million of salt. Not seawater, but far too brackish for standard crops.
You know, the water in there is pretty salty, so salinity level is high. And then we have naturally occurring groundwater as well.
Wheat, corn, tomatoes, and most vegetables cannot survive these conditions. Agricultural researchers tested the water on experimental plots. Results were devastating. Plants showed rapid salt stress, growth failed. The water was deemed unsuitable for conventional farming. The rational response was abandonment. Israel chose a different path. The question. Nobody asked researchers at Ben-Gurion University's Bengis Center for Desert Aquaculture, led by Professor Samuel Applebaum, began examining the problem differently. Everyone kept asking, what crops can survive this water? Applebaum asked, what already thrives in water, exactly like this naturally? The answer was swimming in coastal rivers thousands of miles away. Barramundi, a fish native to Australian and Southeast Asian estuaries where fresh water mixes with seawater.
But one of the most cool fish that a lot of people spot is the barramundi just behind me. Now these guys can live in tropical marine waters, just like the tank here. They can also be found in freshwater systems as well as estuaries. Now estuaries are where your saltwater and your freshwater meet,
creating naturally brackish conditions. These fish evolved specifically for fluctuating salinity. They spawn in saltwater, migrate to freshwater, then return to brackish zones as adults. And get this, barramundi are tropical. They require water temperatures between 26 and 34 degrees Celsius for optimal growth. Below 20 degrees Celsius, they stop eating. Below 14 degrees Celsius, they die. The geothermal heat that made Negev water useless for crops created perfect conditions for these fish. Here's why that matters economically. Barramundi farming in Europe or North America requires expensive heating systems throughout winter months. Energy costs can devastate profit margins. Some operations spend tens of thousands annually just maintaining water temperature. In the Negev, the water surface is already heated to ideal temperatures. Zero heating costs, year-round. Appelbaum's team also identified tilapia, capable of tolerating salinity far higher than Negev water, and gilt-head sea bream as viable candidates. Both species adapted quickly to desert aquaculture conditions. By the 1990s and early 2000s, commercial operations emerged. Kibbutz Mashabe Sadeh started fish farming in 1992. Aquatech Fisheries built advanced facilities producing up to 2,000 tons of barramundi annually using recirculating aquaculture systems. The fish thrived spectacularly, but success created a new crisis that nearly collapsed the entire industry. The waste crisis. If you're finding this fascinating, take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We uncover hidden systems like this weekly. Now, back to the desert, because what happened next revealed the true genius of Israel's approach. Here's a brutal reality every fish farmer knows. Keeping fish alive is straightforward. Keeping them alive in their own waste is where operations fail. Fish produce ammonia continuously. In enclosed pond systems, ammonia accumulates rapidly. At concentrations above 2 parts per million, it burns gill tissue, damages nervous systems, and kills fish. The desert ponds faced accelerating toxicity problems. Traditional aquaculture solves this 2 ways. First option, mechanical and biological filtration systems. These work effectively, but consume enormous electricity and cost tens of thousands annually to operate. Second option, discharge wastewater into oceans or rivers. Coastal fish farms in Norway and Chile do this routinely. Fish survive, but environmental damage accumulates. Neither solution worked in the Negev. Filtration expenses would eliminate profit margins on operations using essentially free water. Ocean discharge was impossible. No ocean for hundreds of kilometers, and desert water was far too precious to simply discard. The farms faced potential bankruptcy. Millions of liters of warm, salty, ammonia-rich water accumulating. Too toxic to recirculate indefinitely, too valuable to waste. That's when researchers recognized something hiding in plain sight within that toxic water. A resource everyone else had dismissed as worthless. The breakthrough ammonia is lethal to fish. But ammonia is also nitrogen, the single most important nutrient for plant growth. Farmers globally spend over $100 billion annually purchasing synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. The fish weren't producing waste. They were producing free organic fertilizer.
We have here a big water reservoir, underground water reservoir. They are not good enough for drinking, but we can utilize it to grow fish. It is actually adding nutrients to it. And then from the fish, it is continued to grow vegetables.
Instead of filtering or discarding, researchers built irrigation systems connecting fish ponds directly to agricultural fields. Nutrient-rich water flowed from tanks into root zones of olive trees, date palms, and jojoba plants. The concept was elegantly simple. Let crops become the filtration system. Initial tests proceeded cautiously. Farmers worried salt would destroy orchards. The opposite occurred. Olive trees grew vigorously. Date palms produced larger fruit. Jojoba thrived. The nutrient-rich fish water provided steady, slow release. Fertilization that synthetic products couldn't match. Why did it work? Fish waste releases nitrogen gradually. Synthetic fertilizer dumps nutrients all at once. Plants absorb what they can. The excess pollutes groundwater. Organic waste from fish breaks down over weeks, providing sustained nutrition, and the salt everyone feared. Olive trees and date palms are naturally salt-tolerant species. They evolved in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern soils with elevated salinity. The brackish fish water fell well within their tolerance range. Researchers discovered something unexpected. Mild salt stress actually improved fruit quality. When plants experience slight environmental pressure, they concentrate sugars and flavor compounds as survival mechanisms. The system created a closed loop. Water rose from underground already heated. sustained fish populations, collected nutrients, irrigated orchards, filtered through soil, and percolated back toward the aquifer cleaner than when it surfaced. Long-term monitoring revealed salt levels in irrigated soil remained stable or even decreased over time. The trees actively absorb salt, concentrating it in older leaves that drop during pruning. The economics. Fresh water from Israeli desalination plants cost significantly more than brackish aquifer water. The difference can reach 90% savings per cubic meter, but here's where economics become genuinely clever. By cycling water through fish systems first, then diverting it to agriculture, costs split between two industries. Fish operations pay pumping costs and use the water. Agricultural operations receive that same water, carrying free nutrients. Free irrigation plus free organic fertilizer simultaneously. Traditional fish farms spend substantial sums treating or disposing of wastewater. In the Negev integrated system, that wastewater has premium value. Neither industry could operate profitably alone at standard water prices. Together, both achieve sustainable margins. Today, Aquatech Fisheries operates one of the world's most advanced land-based barramundi farms, producing thousands of tons annually. The fish reach markets across Israel and Europe within hours of harvest. Kibbutz Mashabe Sadeh and other operations contribute additional production. The environmental profile is equally remarkable. The system eliminates synthetic fertilizer requirements and their associated carbon emissions. Geothermal heating replaces electrical systems entirely. Integrated orchards sequester carbon through photosynthesis. The operation approaches carbon neutrality, or potentially carbon negativity, depending on calculation methods. Why the world is watching. Now, here's where implications extend beyond fish and dates. The Nubian aquifer doesn't exist solely beneath Israel. It spans Egypt, Libya, Chad, and Sudan. Nations facing severe water stress as climate change accelerates regional drought. Libya already extracts substantial water through the Great Man-Made River. Project. Egypt has developed portions beneath its western desert. Climate projections suggest North Africa and the Middle East will face intensifying water scarcity over coming decades. Agricultural systems dependent on rainfall or depleting surface water face uncertain futures.
What we're doing here is way more than science. I mean, we are doing science, but our science is really helping a lot of people and especially enable people to live in drylands. This is huge for the future of humanity.
The Israeli model demonstrates something significant. Supposedly worthless resources, water too hot, too salty, too deep for conventional use, can become productive when matched with appropriate applications. Other arid nations have taken notice. Delegations have visited Negev facilities. Similar integrated aquaculture agriculture concepts are being explored across water-stressed regions. The technology isn't about finding more water. It's about extracting value from water everyone assumed was useless. Israel looked at an ancient underground reservoir that killed crops and asked one question: what is this water actually perfect for? The answer transformed worthless into valuable. Tropical fish that require heat, salt-tolerant crops that thrive under stress, a closed-loop system where waste becomes nutrition. They didn't fight the desert's constraints. They found applications those constraints uniquely enabled: thousands of tons of fish, thriving orchards, a model spreading to arid regions worldwide. Proof that impossible often just means nobody found the right combination yet. What do you think? Could systems like this help solve water scarcity? Or are we just delaying an inevitable crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this revealed something you'd never heard before, hit that like button and subscribe. We uncover hidden innovations weekly. See you in the next one.